Well, hello everyone. Hello one and all, as the British say. And welcome to this reasonably late stream, at least for me. As always, let's see and let's hope my audio levels are all right. If you would be so kind and write in the chat if you can actually hear me and see my screen recording here. Hello Arcane, welcome back. Nice to see you. See if I can get all of my cables and everything sorted here. Audio okay, thank you for the report. I hope it stays okay, and I hope I don't mess everything up again. Screen okay too, excellent. Excellent. So, today has been a little bit of a crazy day for me. I was planning to stream earlier. This might be just the perfect time for you guys to actually watch one of these streams. It's a little late for me, but it's not that bad. And I think I can go for a few hours, especially if we can get some work done. But it's definitely later than I usually stream. So let's see what we have going here. Today we're going to work on some assorted tasks related to the demo of Traction Point. I have sort of a to-do list here. Now this is something that I told my wonderful followers on Discord that I wouldn't really advertise outside of Discord, but here I am talking about it anyway. There's going to be a build available of Traction Point on the 1st of February, which is not 2 days from now, which is a Saturday, but 1 week after that. And that build is going to be a pretty rough demo build of the game. And that's why I'm not really planning on advertising it outside of the Discord. And indeed you will sort of have to join the Discord to get your hands on that build. Unless you get it from someone who is on the Madrigal Games Discord. But anyway, to make a long story short, I'm planning to release a very first sort of limited demo thing of this game in about a week's time, and then I have a shitload of things to put into that until it is in a shape where I can release it. Regardless of the shape it is in, I will still release it on the 1st of February. Now that build will lack a bunch of things that I feel a good demo of a game should have. It won't have rebindable keys. Probably won't even have an options menu. It will probably lack a bunch of sounds, maybe even some textures, maybe some particle systems. You know, it'll be rough. So if you would like to see a more polished build of the game, then this build is not for you. There will be a more polished build on you know, a build which you won't have to join the Discord to get your hands on. Probably in a couple of months or so. But this will be the very first sort of semi-public build of the game. Hey Tutu, welcome back. And to that extent, I've been doing pulling some pretty crazy hours lately because I want to get this thing into as good of a shape as I can. Okay, says, I like to stream. So good to do programming with your videos playing in the background. Well, I'm happy to hear it. I will inject some coffee and I will get on programming as well. Yeah, it's too late for coffee for me today, but I have a cup of tea. Or whatever sort of infusion thing this is. It's probably not even tea. I think there's some like cinnamon, cardamom, you know, like flavored water basically. That's pretty good. Anyway, as I was saying, there will be a build of the game, and I'm not gonna talk about it like a whole lot outside of Discord. The whole idea of it is that if you're really aching to play the game, then you can play the game. And if you get your hands on the build, you're free to distribute it outside of the Discord as well, right? But I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it because it is super rough. And I basically have a list of things that I would really like to put in there. We'll see how far I actually get. Today we're gonna fix some issues, and indeed I've fixed a bunch of issues already today. Things that have been bugging me for a pretty long time. Here's actually one of them. You can see it right now. We have this sort of flying camera here in the beginning, and it sort of morphs into this player camera, which I was very proud of when I made it. And that's how the demo kind of starts. Now the problem here is that if we just load the game here and we do the same thing again, the problem here is that if you just watch this, if you don't play anything, you just watch this car drive here along the road, and you're like, oh, this is a cinematic. I'm meant to watch it. I mean, I guess most people will realize that, okay, I actually have like a... Let's pause the game. I have a gauge down here, and you have an objective screen up there. Of course, it will look like this if we just remove the debug overlay there. So most people will probably realize that, like, okay, I actually need to drive now, right? But if you don't do that, if you just like let it run, this guy will... Oh, he actually doesn't drive into into a tree now, but it drives into a cliff. So this is sort of a silly thing to have happen if the player doesn't do anything. So what I would like it to do, it's just a very, very tiny little adjustment of the steering there at the end. And it's kind of tricky actually to get it. I spent like maybe like an hour on this thing earlier. Like, again, if I don't do anything, the thing will just like drive off the road. and previously it drove like into this tree here. Apparently now something has changed just enough that like this, and it was like super stupid. Apparently something has changed a little bit now in the build. It actually drives past that thing. But, what I would like to happen is that it would sort of aim nicely, so that it will continue along the road. And it's actually kind of tricky. Let's pause the game again. There's like a slight turn here in the road. This is basically the let's see, if we unpause this and now pause it again, you can see here it says here in the debug menu it's scout to avatar. So the avatar in the terminology of this game engine is like the object in the world that represents you. You can make essentially anything an avatar. This cliff could be the avatar if you really want to. There's some components that you kind of need to throw on an object, and if you do that, then it will make it so that you can just select that object from here, and you can go like set as avatar. That stuff won't appear for the cliffs. But like the idea is that you can sort of make anything in avatar. And right here, when you see this output, this is where we actually set this car here to be you, essentially. And this is kind of like a carefully choreographed thing, even though this intro here seems like looks super simple. There's almost nothing going on. There's some cars driving here. Someone is talking, and at least you can see the subtitles, and the camera does its swoop over this thing. But there's like probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 events here. You can see here, if I just hold it to the right, that is the point where we can actually start driving the car. The thing is, of course, that right at this position where it starts giving you the control, that is where the AI should still drive for like 20 meters or so, and then do this, right? If it did that, now we would be driving along the road. And so there's quite a lot of stuff here that's going on that causes this car here to just continue straight. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea how to fix this currently, but I'm gonna have to figure it out. Let's see if we do like turn on the nav mesh here. Restart this one more time. Tutu says there are a bunch of games which give you a similar transition when you take over. Yes, there are. Yeah. I'm not claiming I'm like the only one who does this. Not at all. Not at all. But it's a cool transition, I think. So if we make if you debug the brain of this guy here, you can see that they're actually driving using AI along this road until you then, as the player, take over. And if we have a look here, we can see that like, okay, so it would probably drive along the road just fine. The problem is that we are essentially, taking the hands off the wheel right before this slight turn in the road here. At this point, pretty much where this driveline position is the place where where the AI goes like, okay, I'm done steering now, thank you very much, and I'm just gonna let go of the wheel, and then you just go straight. Set up waypoints for the car to endlessly drive around as soon as it's entered the circle. Yeah, I could do that. Kind of like we did with the physics stress testing. Was it maybe a couple of streams ago? But yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to disable the AI. But I mean, one way would be to disable the AI just a little later, like around here. So at that point, the AI would have essentially made that turn. Like if we draw a straight line from here, I would probably go like run into that rock instead. So I wonder if it like the easiest way here would just kind of be to like reroute this AI road here on the nav mesh a little bit, so that the turn is sooner. That might be like perhaps like just the easiest way to do this. And the road would go sort of here, and then it would make the turn here already. Currently, it's like if you hold the thumbstick to the right, you can just hold it to the right while the cinematic is playing, and then when it gives you the control of the car, you can just about pass this rock here, so you won't actually drive into it. Let's do this one more time. Hey Cactus, welcome back. Right, so I'm just holding the left thumbstick to the right. and nothing is happening still. And at some point you will see the car make like a... Oh, the mouse cursor is perfectly placed in the car. At some point the car will just make like a turn to the right like that, and that is the place where you actually get control over it. So I think it's just like a few meters more, and then it would basically have done that, made that turn. And yeah, the mother vehicle stops here. Let's have a look at this in the editor. I don't exactly remember how this is set up. Can you add cactus to traction point? Yeah. I mean, that will obviously be in the microtransaction. You know, you can buy any sort of plant and decorate your car. You can have like a potted cactus on the back of the mother vehicle. If you pay me 79 euros. Like obviously. That is how I will do it. Nav mesh main. Draw tiles. No, not tiles. But the nav mesh. Let's let it render the light probes. So stinky trees, yeah, right. The Wunderbaum. Yeah, let's have some Wunderbaums going on. Right, so the main road is basically modeled using these splines. So it's sort of a, it's like a spline, but it also has a thickness, which is represented here by these circles that run along the thing. So you can see four units we can make it like thicker. We still need to rebake the light map if we want to actual like road on the light on the nav mesh to be thicker as well. If I remember correctly, let's see. So if we bake the nav mesh main, this will take actually a little bit of time now. I should really optimize this. It should be like maybe a second or two to rebake the light, not the light map, but the nav mesh. And we can see what's going on. Well, I think actually the trick here is probably to make it actually thinner, right? Not thicker, but thinner. So we want to make it as thin as possible. Yeah, okay, so that's how it works. It works just as I remembered it would. So it was set at 4. What if we make it 2? Is it still going to be just a long OBS Studio again. OBS Studio complaining. Not exactly sure what that's about, but hopefully everyone is still online and here. Right. Okay. So now you can see that it's no longer like an actual road. It has these holes, and I think this has something to do with like the voxelization of the scene and all of that. How it actually then kind of turns these things into actual areas on the light map. I mean, I'm sure they're not really visible on the stream, but you can see these very sort of faint polygon edges here connecting these things together. So they're actually just like a triangular mesh, at least like the visualization. Hey William, nice of you to stop by. Yeah, it's a bit of an unconventional time for me to stream this exact time. Right, so this is probably not going to be like an issue that we have holes here, right? Because when it actually selects a path to drive along, it wants to choose paths that are as cheap as possible. That's basically what this is. So the reason it chooses the roads now, wants to stay on the roads, is that the roads are scored. They have a cost associated with them, and the cost is simply lower for the road areas than it is for the the standard areas. And using that, you can then also make it sort of avoid certain places but still take them if there's no other way. That's kind of how it works. We have these slightly different colored roads that are these sort of smaller roads in places as well. They also have a lower score, but their score is a little higher than the main road ones. So this is probably not going to be a problem. It's still gonna like prefer to travel between these, but it might be a problem, and I've seen some kind of funky drive lines as a result of this. So I'd like to avoid it if I can, and I can probably adjust any of these other settings to sort of make that happen, but let's see if we can actually get like a slightly more coherent road going here. Yeah, the annoying thing with this with this nav generation is that almost all the time, or probably like 2/3 at least, goes to just sending the scene data. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Yeah, almost all of the time goes to just sending the scene data, so exporting the scene geometry, as you can see here, to Recast. Recast then does the actual nav mesh generation. So the nav mesh generation doesn't take that long. It's basically just like my code, which is being slow here. So, yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, so it's better, but it's not quite there. Let's see. Can we adjust some of these other settings here? Edge max length, edge max error. I wonder if tile size is like the correct thing. I wouldn't, of course, really want to change these things because I'm not exactly sure what that will lead to in terms of like performance or memory usage or anything like that. But that is probably how we would get. Let's make the tile size half. So instead of 48, we make it 42, and then we quite simply hit the build button and see what happens. And now I would kind of expect the nav mesh generation to take a little longer, and probably also these squares that you might be able to see here to be smaller. But maybe not. I'm not exactly sure how this visualization works. We'll see. And these are just parameters that are fed straight to Recast and Detour. Well, not Detour really. The mesh is fed to Detour, but these parameters are fed to Recast. So if any of you are more experienced with Recast than me, then by all means just shout. Yeah, you can see that the cells got smaller. We still have this annoying thing where the road is kind of not really a singular road. So that's annoying. Okay, let's just quite simply undo all of that and make it back to how it was. Might have to think about some alternative approach here. It wouldn't really be a problem for me to have like a custom component that like does that, which makes it drive toward a certain direction or in a certain direction. But this is like a very, very specific problem for this very, very specific cinematic in this very, very specific, you know, case. It seems kind of silly to have to actually write code to do anything about this. That's why I'm like, nah, not super happy about it. I mean, we could basically do what Tutu said and keep the agent active. Not like necessarily indefinitely, but just like a little longer. And basically make it so that the minute you touch the controls, the controls are relinquished and you actually, you know, get the drive. But that means that if the controls are touched just ever so slightly, then we'll basically like again drive straight into that rock there. So it's probably better, and like let's be honest, most people will probably try to drive the car quite early anyway. It's not even gonna be an issue the way we have it now. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to solve this. Oh well, I know how to solve this. I know like 3 or 4 different ways. I don't want to do any of them. I'm back. Have you added cacti yet? I haven't, but maybe we should get on that. Where should we put a cactus? Let's put a cactus somewhere. I'm deadly serious. Where do we put a cactus? Right, let's put a cactus right here, and let's see where that takes us. Yeah. Your wish is my command. Obviously, there's a cactus going into the game right now. Let's see. This is called the Cave Warehouse. This is one of these utterly unfinished houses. But at least now it's gonna have a cactus. So let's maybe not nest it under that. Let's just put it here in the Cave Warehouse. So put the cactus like maybe there. And oh, we need to bring in, oh, but yeah. Actually, no, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Yeah, we kind of do. I'm rambling now, sorry. Let's put a scale mannequin here. Scale mannequin, so we know what's what. And then we bring a little bit of surroundings into the thing. All right, this is gonna be our cactus. Like, this is obviously super important for the demo, right? Like, there's no way to ship the demo without this. That's how I see it anyway. How do we make a cactus? Let's make like this is not at all due to the fact that I don't know how to solve that problem we just had. That's not why I'm doing this, in case you're wondering. Nope, nope, not that. Oh man. It's too late for Blender brain, clearly. Okay, like that, right? And then we do a subdivision surface thing on it. Right, something like that. Is that a cactus? That's a pretty horrible cactus, to be honest. I don't even know how to model a cactus, for being completely honest here. Let's not actually rotate that. Let's see. Oh man, I'm looking for some sort of some sort of vertex. Vertex group thing here, which I could use to sort of taper this thing off here at the end. The descent into madness begins. It has begun a little bit. I mean, it's just way too late for me to be doing any sort of work, really. Right? That's kind of what's going on here. Let's see. Let's extrude that down like so. This is almost sort of like a what's it called? Is it like scaffolding or something? It's kind of fun, actually. I kind of rarely use subdivision surface modifiers, so this is sort of like a new thing to me. I do know of them, but I haven't really used them a lot. A beautiful cactus. I'm sure you'll all agree. Yeah, we can actually extrude. I'm sure you'll all agree. It's kind of too high poly though. Is that kind of how you... Yeah, that's sort of how you taper those things off, actually. Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of need to have a cactus in the game now. It's sort of part of the official lore. But I might have to... I might have to go to cactus school before I can produce a quality one. Unless that is what this is. Right, is this cactus school? This doesn't look good. I don't know what it is about this particular branch here. It looks weird. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's actually really good. let's do something here. I'm just sort of like exploring the subdivision surface modifier now. This is kind of interesting. We shall name it Clive. Yep. Yeah, that might work. Don't forget the spikes. I don't think I will go for spikes. Sorry to disappoint you there, but at least you get a cactus. So you know, I don't think spikes are part of the traction point visuals necessarily. Oh, we'll see. Maybe I'll surprise you with spikes later. You never know. Yeah, I think like these two guys can't be like at the similar height or at the same height. They need to be at different heights, otherwise it's gonna look strange. Maybe like that, and then just like pull it down. I don't need these surroundings. Go away. Oh shit. I'm breaking it. Yeah, and then this also needs to come down. Let's see. We can make another loop cut there and then just slide it down. Yeah, this looks kind of strange. This looks kind of strange, to be honest. We might have to re-topologize our cactus. We might have to re-topologize our cactus. I think this is a cactus. If I'm not mistaken, this is a cactus. So I mean, that's something. I mean, we can... Like, the proportions are kind of wacky still. Scale it out. That looks kind of like a cactus. Nope, not that. I haven't even looked at any sort of references this time around. I don't know why not, but for some reason I didn't go for any references, and that's why this is just sort of like I'm just trying things and going like, is this like cactier than it was before I did this change? And if it's cactier, then I leave it. And if it gets, you know, decactivized, then I keep working on it. I think we can all agree that this is not like an actual cactus. This is a plastic cactus, which was one of the highlights of the the Mexican themed fiesta that you know these people had in this lift station, you know, a couple of months ago, and now it's just been kind of left here to its own devices. Looks really good. Thank you. I don't necessarily agree, but I mean, I didn't particularly set out to draw cacti this evening, so this is what you're getting. All right. Let's update and keep editing. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful cactus. Should be a little bigger maybe. I don't know. That's a person. I think that's actually pretty much the correct size. Let's just scale it up ever so slightly. There we go. And then probably I don't know exactly what's going to happen with this very thing now. It's gonna be maybe lying on its side or something. Yeah, we'll make it green. Yeah, one second. I'm not done yet. I think this thing needs to have some sort of base. Let's use Blender Sync's features here to actually create a helpers collection, and then we duplicate this guy. So we have the you know, with sub div modifier, and then we can just drag that in there. Whatever is in this Blender Sync helpers collection won't be actually removed when we move it back and forth between the editor and Blender. So if we want to go back and mess with this with its subdivision modifier later on, we can do that. Right, so update and keep editing. That just means that we can save this thing. Now what happened if we, because this is a little high poly maybe for cactus, probably like as many polygons as like one of these houses. So if we do like a decimate after this, do I need to actually? Oh no, I can do it here. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. We need to make it smooth, obviously. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, the decimate modifier is maybe not like that good. It's pretty good, but it's sometimes it just like kind of doesn't work with whatever you're trying to do. Looks like a hand, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of ugly, isn't it? I think it needs, you know, it needs like a cowboy hat or something around one of these to establish that it is, you know, a cactus. This is like the ugliest cactus I've drawn today. Let's apply everything. Then we're gonna make like a base for it. So let's put in something like that. Scale it down. Right, and then we can just like remove these guys. All of these faces. Bye bye. It's not sitting quite on the base though. Maybe something like that. That'd be good. Actually, I think let's put the cursor there. Remove that and make like a slightly less sided thing here. Something like that, because I feel like this thing needs that to make it look like an actual base, right? Let me bring it in. Does this look like a, you know, like a crappy plastic cactus that would be at like a barbecue party? I don't know. I don't know if it does. Take away some of these edges here to make the bottom kind of a little bit nicer. It's pretty horrible. Look at this topography here. Like the decimate modifier is just like making a mess of it. Like super thin triangles and stuff. That's not nice. Well, yeah, maybe it doesn't need to be nice. I think it just needs to be a cactus. Cool. Okay, let's smooth that as well. We need to probably auto smooth it though. There we go. That's auto smoothing. And I'll just like bump that up. What is going on here? There we go. We can probably make it like... We can make it 85. That's still gonna look good. Yeah. Yeah. There was a tool that you could use. I don't remember exactly what it was anymore. I don't have it currently here. But it would be really nice because it's sort of like a brush that you can paint on this stuff and it will sort of smooth it out for you. Really handy if you're doing sort of like retopology and things like that. Holographic cactus. Oh. Yeah, interesting. Let's maybe move it up so that it's kind of like sitting on this. I think that probably makes sense. Okay. Is that good? And then finish editing. Oh, let's... Even though I'm not gonna texture it now, I'm still going to do a smart UV project. Because Asimp doesn't like if... or sometimes it doesn't like if you don't have UVs when it wants to... like it recalculates the normals, optimizes the normals, and if it doesn't have UVs... for some of those pre-process or post-processing, I should say, passes that I actually have going there, it doesn't like it. Lockout green. There, isn't that wonderful? And the answer is no. It's not very good. But it is a cactus, and we can put it here. Let's put it maybe inside of the... Put it maybe inside the warehouse. Or something. I don't know. Where should the cactus be? Where do we put the cactus? Where do we put the cactus? Put the cactus in the power station. I don't know. Maybe the cactus is good where it is for now, and we'll figure out the final place. All right, now we have cacti in the game. That's a Steam store page feature right there. Oh, you retracted your message because it had to go out again. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a whole cave here, which I'm not using. Actually, I am using it. Yeah, scratch that. I am using it for one purpose. I'm not going to spoil what it is. There's actually a purpose for the cave in the demo, but I'm not using it as much as I thought I would originally. Maybe we'll put like, 50 cacti in there, something. All right. I think I'm gonna have to think about this thing a little bit more. Luckily, I have like a list of things to do here. I think we're just gonna basically like select the next one. Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Let's play the game. Let's play the game. Put it into the game. We'll think about it. There's gonna be an upcoming stream, which I've talked about. I've spoken about now several times. People are probably sick of listening to me talk about this thing. But there is going to be a stream where I model a bunch of stuff for the demo. I mean, I hope they go into the demo. It might be that I find some catastrophic bug which takes me 3 days to fix, and I need to spend time working on that. But I'd like to get more just stuff into the level, and I think during that stream maybe we'll do like maybe we'll revisit the cactus and maybe even texture it, stuff like that. Okay, actually I need to play the game as it is supposed to be played. So we'll load the game here, and we are going to use a little bit of developer magic to enter the lift station, and then we're gonna fix a bug that actually happens. Like let's actually do one of these things I had on my list. Not that I don't enjoy modeling cacti. Clive the Cactus King, or whatever it was, supposed to be. Clive the Cactus King will return when you least expect it. Okay, so here you can see objective, find a way into the lift station. Okay, so I'm sure everyone has their ideas of how that might happen, right? And the thing is, if we can we drive actually on this thing? Can I drive on this? Yeah, I can drive on it. Of course I can. Why wouldn't I be able to? Except those boxes don't seem to have any collisions. Yeah, I probably just left those out. So, yeah, I'm not inside the lift station currently. And now if I, if I do this, I will probably, yeah, row 1 goes, nice, you're in. So the mission detects that, okay, hey, you're inside the lift station, and then they keep talking, and the mission can progress, right? Should drink the appropriate drink for this case, mezcal. Yeah, I think if I had that, then there would be no fixing of bugs. But yes, you're right. That would be the appropriate way. Anyway, right. So if you are represented by a car, if your avatar is set to be the scout, I know we spawned like another scout on the roof of that house just there, but same thing goes for the main one. If you are the scout, and then one way or another, you figure out a way to get into the level, or the lift station, sorry, the lift station, then the mission will progress just nicely, right? Now, here's a little bit of an exploit, which I don't think I'm gonna patch. This I'm actually probably gonna patch, the fact that this doesn't have collisions. But here's an exploit that I'm probably not gonna patch. If there is another vehicle inside of the lift station, and you are close enough to it, now there's not going to be two scouts here, so this case is a little contrived, but you get my point. If there's another vehicle in there, maybe you somehow use the mother vehicle to put it in there or something, and then you're close enough to it, you can switch vehicle like this. Look at that, and now we are inside of the lift station. However, the script doesn't recognize that, right? It still says find a way into the lift station. If we're driving around here, sooner or later it is probably going to do that, because this area is represented by like a number of triggers. So if we find another one of those triggers, if we drive around here enough, it is, oh, actually no, it's not going to, no, it's actually not going to recognize that we are in here unless we go back out and then we come back in. And that just has to do with how the script is set up. And we need to fix that. So we need to essentially go like, okay, if you are entering this place with a vehicle, and you are that vehicle, obviously, then you enter the base. But also, if you switch into a vehicle which is already inside the lift station, you should also it should also be considered good enough, right? So if we put down another gripper, no, let's get rid of that, but let's put down a mother here, and let's put another scout there. Switch to this. So this is basically what I'm. This is the most likely case probably here. If we use the crane and we lift this guy into the base like so. This crane is really fun to use actually now that it's this fast. I don't care that it's violent. I'm just gonna keep it like this. It's much more fun to use when it's this fast. It's actually like, considering the size of that crane, it's just like ridiculously fast. I have to go to sleep. See you next time. Yep. See you next time. This is some Mud SnowRunner switcheroo mechanic. Yeah, definitely. Yep. The whole Spin Tires Mud or SnowRunner franchise is like a one of the influences here. Right. So if you are now this, then if we move this crane low enough, it's going to consider like, okay, you are inside the base now because your crane is entering it, right? If we lower the cable here. But now if I drop this, I go boom. I drop that. Now I can switch to this vehicle. Yeah, see, this is now one of those cases where like I got stuck on the on the railing there. Let's see if we can I woo magically just levitate away. Yeah, it's gonna like apply an upwards force because we came from up there. Yeah, I need to get rid of that railing probably. It's just causing me no end of grief. There we go. So actually no, I don't need to get rid of it, but I need to make it drivable. Yeah, let's put that on the list. As you can see, there are some things that need to go on the list. Make railing next to main gate drivable. It's just a flag in the editor. But yeah, now we are basically, you know, now we're basically inside the lift station, but the script hasn't recognized that. How is the springy antenna on the small vehicle implement the chain of physics bodies? Yes. Exactly. Yeah. I have a custom joint, which is called like the springy something joint. What the hell is it called? Physics joint. Yeah, spherical spring. Spherical spring is not something that's found in physics, but it's actually implemented using a DOF 6, so 6 degrees of freedom joint in physics, and that turns it into like this springy sort of thing when you actually simulate it. So there you can see the segments, and yeah, they're sort of flickering because they're not interpolated. And you can see actually that I've kind of toned down the movement like visually for this, so the physics parts sort of jiggle a little bit more than the actual visuals jiggle here. Blah blah blah. But yeah, it has like a stiffness and then it has a visual stiffness, and it was something like I couldn't get the visual stiffness to, I couldn't get it to like look exactly how I wanted physically, so I toned down the visual stiffness a little bit. But yeah, it's just like 5, or is it 6 maybe? That's 5 segments. Looks pretty good. And that is also how the chain on the crane works, by the way. It is not using a spherical string joint there. And this time we actually need to go to the server, because that's the only place where this thing exists. But it works basically the same. So if we make this the avatar, and then we switch to the cargo crane, we can mess around with this guy, blah blah blah. If you make the cable longer, you can see that it actually just adds segments to it, and that's why there's a little bit of jerkiness when you're making the chain longer or shorter, because it needs to sort of fix those things up and rehook the joints to each other and all of that. I could probably make it work nicer than it currently does, but I think it works fine enough, you know. Especially like the visuals, kind of nice and springy. And you can even do stuff like this. Let's go back to the main camera here. Get the crane back onto the thing, onto the vehicle. So it can be a little wonky, but you can even sort of collect it into like a pile. Right, like this, it kind of folds into just like a heap of cable like that, which I think is kind of fun. And you can see actually the mesh triangulation there being kind of strange when you make it longer or shorter. Sort of like a snake moving about. Right, and then if you go driving, it will just like slide all over the place. And it generally works kind of okay. Sometimes it gets, you know, you can get like a an object sometimes in between two of those segments. And then it sort of looks wonky, because it looks like the cable is going like straight through something. But I think for my uses it works well enough. This is cool. Reminds me roughly of how cloth stuff works in point mass type of deal. Oh, yeah. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, you can see some of these protrusions here aren't actually like physically represented by anything, so you can just go straight through them. I did add collisions for those tanks there though, so they're not properly colliding with things. Very nice. I'm about to embark on investigating bullet physics for cloth sim. Oh yeah. Yes, good luck with that. Oh, I got stuck on a tree. Anyway, let's fix that one bug that we found. So if we go to the editor, we can see here that the lift station, actually it's part of the mission, so it's not the lift station, it's here. It is the lift station trigger area. So these are the triggers. They're normally hidden, so that's why you don't see any icons for them. If we unhide, well, the icons are mostly underground anyway, so oh well. But these are the areas, and they're pretty large. They're all under this lift station trigger area, which is a component which you can sort of just drag a bunch of triggers underneath it, and it will keep track of like, okay, which rigid bodies, actually which shapes attached to which rigid bodies, have entered any of these triggers that this trigger area manages, right? And then it sort of ref counts them. So when you drive into the area with one of those vehicles, it doesn't give you like an event for every single, you know, segment on the antenna or the crane cable or anything like that. It just gives you like a, hey, this vehicle entered this area. And that is how we can do this on object, and I think I can even make that larger for you guys. So on object entered is fired when one of these objects enter it, and then we just check if it is the single player avatar, and if it is, then we can progress with the mission script. But this should give you an idea actually of why we get stuck in sort of like a soft lock sort of situation here. Because if we already have a vehicle inside the area, and we switch to that, we make that our avatar. This on object entered is obviously not gonna fire because the object didn't enter it. If that makes sense. The object maybe didn't even move. So we need a way to actually hook that up into something that we can look at. So there's another script type here called a Nemo script. This guy actually knows, yeah, on avatar set. So when the avatar is set for someone, and remember this can be, you know, potentially a multiplayer game, even though I'm not really making it a multiplayer game, but the tech support is sort of there to make it a multiplayer game. And so that's why you get like a host ID. This is different for every player in the game. So when the player with this host ID gets this avatar set, or this object set as their avatar, then this thing will fire. And so we should be able to just add these kinds of events to that trigger area. And not only that, but they should probably get like a Boolean parameter here that like were they actually inside of the area or not. And if they were, then you know we can run the same logic. We can do this thing here. So if the object is the single player avatar, then we're good to go. I think that should probably be enough. So let's make that happen. I'm going to unload this here so that we can make changes. Let's look at trigger area component.zig. And we'll also want to look at, I'll just probably close the other ones. Nemo script component. So this is the component that we're going to want to probably copy paste these avatar set and avatar cleared event declarations from. Yeah, I'm just going to move this off the other monitor. You're going to basically see everything I do anyway. So I'm just copy pasting stuff from this guy into this guy. So we already have on object entered, on object exited. Decl just means declaration, unsurprisingly. So we'll just want these, but we want to have a version which goes like in is inside area. So I want to know like, okay, was this actually inside the area? Maybe we actually, should we just call this like on avatar set inside area? Maybe that is the only thing we're actually interested in, right? We can use one of those other scripts for those other cases. So we're only going to fire this if this thing happened while the object was inside the area. I think that actually makes sense because that kind of cuts down on the noise that some of these events might actually, you know, give us. And then I guess we should really call it on avatar set inside area deckled and on avatar cleared inside area deckled. And then we want some AngelScript function pointers here. And again, we'll just do this inside area thing. Need to get to dinner. Nice to see you starting to crack through the to-do list. Yes. Yes, I am. And yeah, thank you for joining today. Have a great dinner. Yeah, I'm going to release that build whether I get through all of this or not. So yeah, today I fixed quite a few of these sort of smaller tasks. I've added a few more. So it's like a net positive, but yeah, it's not just shrinking, it's growing as well. I have a few pretty big tasks left, things like audio design, and I should really redesign the gripper, but we'll see if those go into the first version, the first demo. They might not have time to do that. But yeah, have a good one. So we need to hook those functions up. Isn't that what to call it? Yeah. So I basically need to add just like this inside area to everything here. And it's gonna basically figure it out for us. So this thing here is like, if either of these are actually set. So here we're asking sort of like get script function by declaration, and then we give it these declarations that we actually made. This basically means that like, has the player added this event to the script of the function, right? If they have, then this will be non-null, and if they are non-null, so if this is not null or this is not null, then we need to actually subscribe to the message category that will give this to us. Complaints about engine messages, that should be as simple as going like engine messages equals basis dot is it engine messages? Yeah, so it's a little silly to shorten that, but whatever. Yeah, that should be it. Do we need to deinitialize those? I don't think we do. I'm gonna have a look here in this other file. Yeah, it looks like we don't. So that should be okay. We do need to register with AngelScript though, that we actually have them. Just like we do here. So again, we need to put the inside area here before the decal. So we have 4 of these events now. On object entered, exited, we need those, just like we saw earlier. And we also have on avatar set, on avatar cleared. I think the music is maybe a little low, so let's just bring it up a little bit. And let me know actually if the balances are off. The music is too loud or something. Okay. So with this in place, we should be able to basically just call those things. But we need to figure out, okay, first of all, when is the avatar set and cleared? Now luckily that is pretty easy. We already subscribed here to the message category, so it's unsurprising that we get messages when that stuff happens. We can basically just copy paste the entire on message received from that other component. Message, yeah, that's probably just like as these two guys here that I have commented out. So we get a message, set active avatar, we get the hostname hash and the host ID. So those are the two things that we actually need to fill in these parameters that we spoke about. Host ID and then the avatar object as a game object type. That's cool. We still don't know that third thing that we spoke about, the fact that we should only really call this if the object is inside the area or not. Same thing here with this second one. Yeah, this only says the host ID because it's like we don't have any game object name hash for that because it was specifically cleared. It's like this player no longer has an avatar, and then we get this set. Okay. So what we can do though here is basically whenever one of those triggers that this area manages, because this area doesn't do anything on its own, it needs to have those triggers nested underneath it, which actually tells it like, hey, this physics body now entered the area. It calls this increase hit count and decrease hit count and gives the game object that actually entered or exited. And so that would map to this guy and this guy. And here, luckily, we have a hash map. So it's an auto hash map from a string hash into a U32. So this is basically just like, hey, how many triggers has this one object entered? So hit count, and this is the object, the name hash of the object. With a little bit of luck, that should be exactly what we need. If we decrease the hit count, we can see that we we find the object in the hash map. We decrease the pointer count here, or the actual count. Yeah, that's a pointer, so that's why it's named like that. We decrease the count, the hit count of that object. If we reach 0, then we call that other, the object exited. So basically what we need to do here is, quite simply, check if this avatar object name hash exists in that hash map, and if it has a hit count larger than 0, then we call this guy. I now realize that we can't actually do that with the clear avatar, because it's not related to any single object. So we quite simply just can't have that here. I'm just going to remove that completely. We don't need it for the mission anyway. Maybe I'll figure out a way to actually make that make sense, but for now I don't think it actually makes sense for this area at all. Like, the area can't really have an opinion on that because it needs to have like an object to know anything about it. Let's just group these things together here. It's nicer. Yeah, I think this is actually what we want. So avatar object name hash. Let's have a look here. We do self dot object hit counts. Was there like a method here which just tells us whether or not it is there? Get key pointer. Yeah, several of these actually give us like the thing, or they're optional. That's why there's like this little question mark there. So basically, like, if it returns null, then that means that it wasn't there. Contains. There we go. This is what I want. Okay, so contains. Lomix asks, how do you handle audio, customer or library? I'll show you in just a little bit. Short answer is both. It's custom, but it's based on a library. I'll show you in a little bit. I think we're actually kind of close to solving this problem. So if we have the avatar object name hash, right? That one, and just put that there. Then we call this guy, and that should be basically all we need to do. So now, whenever the active avatar is set, by the way, you can use page up and down to scroll the symbol completion pop-up in VS Code. Yeah, I think I've probably done that at some point. You mean this thing here? Page up and down, yeah. It's usually sort of like, I don't want to go that fast, you know? I'm gonna go like, which one of these is it? If I go like page up and down, you know, page up and down shouldn't skip anything. But I don't know, I kind of find my brain sort of has... my brain kind of leans to look at one new thing at a time. Go like, okay, blah 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 blah, and then at some point I get the contains. Yeah, there we go, contains, the one I want. But yeah, thanks for the tip anyway. Right, I think I've probably over-explained this, so let's just see if it actually works. All right, what? Right, this is actually inside area, right? That's what it's called. And just yoink that in there. Let's see if that works better. Did we miss something? I kind of think we didn't. Declarations, registering, hooking up and subscribing, that's important. And then we get the message here. Yeah, that should be everything we need. There's like an on server here, which is, it's not really anything we do with these object entered. So maybe we'll take that out and just check the server thing. We should really only do it on the server in the case of the demo mission. But I think we still want to fire that because we fire these two guys on the client as well if anyone is interested in them. Then we just add that check there in the script itself. So that built. Let's have a look. Let's have us a little look. And now, mission elevator, lift station trigger area. So basically what we can do here, I said we want to check the, what's it called, self on server, yes. This thing. So I only want to do this if we are on the server. Also for these two places here. But now we should have like void on avatar set inside the area. Right? So let's actually print something here. So print debug info. And we can go like avatar object get name, I think it's called. Was set as the avatar inside the lift station. And that should only be visible to us if we are actually setting something inside the lift station. On server and is sp avatar avatar object. Then we send this slightly confusing looking message here, which I'm not going to go through now, but it needs to be true there. That's important. This sets a so-called global variable, which has nothing to do with like global variables in programming languages. This is a global variable, which is sort of like a fact, a world fact. You know, player is currently inside the station. Set that to true, and then the mission script can actually read that. Oh, and of course, that would drive me insane if I'd left that there. So this should give us the name of the thing, and if we spawn something, it's going to be like a slightly wonky looking auto-generated name sort of thing. But yeah, that should be fine. Technically, I guess that should be like that. But I'm gonna comment that thing out anyway. So, okay, let's run this and see what we get. And I think actually I have another area there in the refinery, which is like up on that hill there with the big smoke pillar. Probably has the same bug as this. It's just that it's perhaps a little trickier to actually reproduce that bug there. So. Alright, so if we drive over here, actually I'm just gonna fly here with the camera. Right, so here we have a nice piece of land inside. Actually, we need to, yeah. Sorry, we need to actually just to make the mission actually react. We need to drive here first. We can't do like everything in whatever order we want. We need to wait until this becomes. Find a way into the lift station, like so. Alright. So, if we plonk down a scout there, and then we plonk down a scout here, and then we make that the avatar, no, we don't get anything here, just as we expect. If we now set that as the avatar, hey, look at that, player inside the avatar, and we can see that the dialogue playing back and everything. So that now covers the case where you're like, somehow you got a vehicle in there, but you're still not sort of, you know, conceptually inside that vehicle. But then you go get inside the vehicle. At that point the mission should go like, oh, okay, cool, you're inside now. So that's now handled. Excellent. So let's have a look here. We have let's copy. What is that actually? That's a trigger area. Copy full name. We can use JQ to find, select all game objects of a certain type and just put the type there. And we run that in selection mode. And it will figure out, okay, we actually have 4 of them, right? Oh no, my overlay is breaking down here. What's happening with this? What is happening with this text box here? Alright, well, I don't know what that is. But we have 5 of them. Okay, so we have trigger area here. Where is that actually? Okay. Right, yeah, okay. Yeah, that needs to be an area because of the wonky shape of that elevator. Cool. Then we have another one. We have a junction trigger area. That's probably fine. We don't need to do anything about that. We have the lift station, which we already fixed. Refinery surroundings is probably... Yeah, that's just checking like if the player drives there. But then we actually have this guy. And this guy is sort of covering the whole top of this. So we need to sort of like figure out when is the player... When has the player been up there? And I think this guy probably has the same issue. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. So this should be on server, right? Oop. On, come on. Yeah, my auto completion is a little crappy here in this editor. That's why I kind of typed those out on a separate line to just make sure I don't mess that up. It's not really meant for this. Well, it could be improved, and then it would just work completely fine. Did I actually ever see that output? I might want to just make sure I did, but I probably, I probably did because the mission was progressing. Was it the avatar inside the refinery? And then we can set like player currently inside the refinery here. Yeah, there's a little too much of like strings in those scripts to my liking. Hey Wookie, welcome to the stream. It's a little later than usually. Gosh, the intro into the level is so nice. 2 vehicles rolling in. Oh, you haven't seen anything. There's like a whole intro sequence. That's just like the end of the intro sequence. I can show you it in a little bit. I'm just gonna I promised Lomix I would cover audio in a second, so I'm just gonna do that right after this. But let's just make sure we have Scout. Yeah, not set was set as the avatar inside the lift station. Yeah, that's a bit of a quirk. We can't get the name of this guy currently from the script. You can get it here. It's called Spawned VLHC. But we can't actually get the name of it because we can't like reverse a string hash. But it works exactly the same as if it had the string there, so it's probably fine. Yeah, I'm also a little late today. I need to handle some home stuff. Oh, you have no idea. This has been like this has been a crazy day on the home front, as they say. So no worries. I've had the exact same experience. So now if I do this, if I set like, I don't know, I can put like a mother vehicle there, whatever. We should see something like player is inside the refinery if I set this. No. Oh right, that's because I didn't export the level. Yeah, I didn't export it after I did this. If we export this now, which takes a little while. Unfortunately. And it's almost all the time is going into compressing the grass textures, because the grass exporter is sort of like unoptimized. You can see here just like a whole lot of like exported shell grass, compressing these textures into like PC7. That's why the export takes annoyingly long currently, because it just does it every time, even though it could probably cache those somehow. Alright, right, so let's just put down mother and then set as avatar, and here we can see a player currently inside the refinery. So that works. Cool. It fixed that bug as well. Excellent. Alright. Is Lomix still in the chat? Do you still want to see audio? Yeah, I can't do that. Then I'm blocking the entire process. When I read Minerva on the tower-like structure next to the gate station, I just want to listen to that song by Deftones. Indeed, it is awesome. I've lamented several times that I can't listen to actual good music here on these streams, and to listen to copyright-free stuff. And the music actually ended kind of nicely. Right, so this is my audio solution. It's called Timbre. It's a completely homemade thing. Let's take like a dev project thing here. It's sort of like a. It doesn't have everything it needs to have probably to produce the audio for this game. This is the first game that uses it, and so it's sort of like experimental still, if you will. But so far it's working out pretty well. Let's see, what do we have? Something reasonably simple. Anyway, you make these. Oh, here we go. This is like the most simple thing ever. You have like a node graph like this. You start the event. If you play it, it will play you a sound. Hopefully you can hear this. And then this sound can have filters, and you pass it through like a play audio node, and it would just give you audio, right? Super simple, and you can then create these events, instantiate these events from the game, and you can see here that we have like volume. You can drive the volume using something. You can drive it from like a playback speed. We have a filter here, for example. Let's see what we have. So this is like playing music here, and we have a bunch of filters. Actually, these are the filters. And this is music that I bought licenses for, by the way, so I can play these for you guys. Then you can hook up parameters to this, and you can drive these parameters from the game. So you can, for example, just like have like pitch that you can adjust in real time from the game. And this is like a high pass filter apparently now. Yeah, I'm not gonna play with the distortion because it just sounds horrible. We can make that a low pass. You know, things like this. I've done some reasonably cool things with this. For example, I have I don't think I have anything super interesting here. If we go to this is just like a test project that I used to like actually develop that system. And we have, for example, like the engine sound here is just like one big thing, which has like these curves set up to how we are actually like mixing some of these sounds. So you can just drive this like this. I don't know how well this comes through to you. It's actually kind of low to me. Is the audio levels okay for you guys? Anyway, you can do things like this, and you can see that there's like a yellow line there. So it has like a seeking speed. So if the game sort of like bumps the RPM very suddenly like up, you can see that it doesn't jump immediately, and the speed that it decreases is actually even lower. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's just that. Yeah, there's like button clicks and all kinds of things. One thing that's kind of interesting here is like the radio effects. I don't remember if I actually have. Yeah, I don't think I have any speech currently here. But you can make sort of like you can make effects out of other nodes, or you can make sort of nodes out of other nodes. So here's like a composite node that has like a bunch of input pins. You can make more input pins here if you want to, and then output pins. And this is this is an effect that I made, which is supposed to sound sort of like a, if you have a piece of spoken dialogue, for example, you can sort of run it through this guy, and it will sound like it's being played back over like a bad radio, like a let's see. Let's make an event here. Do like on start, and then we drag the epic theme named so by my composer. Play audio. Let's see, like that. Plug that into play. Plug that into there. That looks like it's might be kind of. Oh, it's really loud. Let's bring it down. And then, you know, if you drag like a radio FX thing here, then you can sort of hook this into here and do that there. And then we actually don't need this play audio. Yeah, it sounds horrible with music. I don't have any speech here currently. It sounds kind of nice with speech, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, this sort of thing, and this is driven by a library that actually does the like voice management and everything, and it's this one, and it's called So Loud, and you can find it on GitHub. This graphic here is broken, but the link still works. So Loud, Jari-Komppa/So Loud. And this thing is pretty nice. It is, like I've told other people, it feels sort of like a loose collection of C++ classes that fit well together. It's not like an integrated audio system thingy. And due to that, I've sort of built my own thing on top of it. But it's pretty nice. It does, most importantly for me, it does voice management, right? If you just play like, you know, 30, 40, 50 sounds and pipe them straight to the audio hardware, you might just get like all kinds of issues with priorities. And so this library does things like, you know, 3D audio, for example. So you can send the position and velocity to it, and it will handle the like attenuation over distances and things like that. And if you play like hundreds and hundreds of sounds, it will try to select and play the ones that actually matter. And it has a bunch of filters. Some of those filters you actually already saw there in my tool. But you can make more. It has like a pretty nice interface for creating. Like this, basically. There's a virtual function there for creating a filter, and then you out of that filter you make filter instances. And then you feed them, put them somewhere in the pipeline, and it will kind of handle the rest. Are you using something like FFmpeg behind the scenes or self-built audio lib? Yeah, okay, well, I guess this kind of answered it. Then this thing needs some sort of backend. This doesn't actually play the audio itself. It needs some kind of backend to actually play the audio. Here's the voice management thing that we talked about. So it does like virtual voices. I recommend you at least give this a try. If you're using something like C++ or some of the languages that this actually supports. There's a whole list of features. I was looking for the backends, though. I don't remember exactly where it is. Oh, here it is. Here we go. current list of backends is. So you can see here that it supports quite a few of them. There are some like really sort of operating system level things like Wasabi, for example, or Xaudio 2, stuff like that. Alsa is here. And it will sort of try to find one that works and then selects that. I actually use it with Mini Audio. You can use Mini Audio yourself, just directly if you want to. This is a pretty low level thing. And I wouldn't necessarily suggest using directly if you haven't done audio before. Because this thing requires more. It's sort of like, you know, Vulkan versus something like D3D11 or OpenGL. Like, this thing requires a whole lot more sort of management on your part, but then again, that gives you a lot of freedom if you want to do some really complex stuff. Well, yeah, I recommend So Loud. Of course, if you want to be just completely, you know, get something that works. In my previous project, I used Fmod. Some people like Wise. This thing. This is probably the most sort of heavy-duty game audio solution there is. Wise. It's a little too heavy-duty for me. I think even Fmod is probably a little bit overkill for me, but Fmod feels like more manageable. Still, for someone who's sort of like an audio newbie, Fmod kind of feels a little too complicated for me, honestly. So I just made my own thing. That's what I'm looking for. Other Zig bindings. What is that? Do you mean So Loud or Mini Audio? If you mean Mini Audio, then I would assume it probably works with Zig, because it has a C API as far as I know, right? I haven't used it myself, actually. Let's be completely honest. Yeah, Mini Audio is a single file library for audio playback and capture. To use it, do the following in one C file. Yeah. So you need to implement it in C, and then you can include your Mini Audio H. This sounds, you know, somewhat compatible with Zig, right? Maybe you need to compile that one C file with this defined somewhere, and then you can use it from Zig. So Loud, I don't know. But it has this thing that it calls the C in quotes API. And I would assume that you can probably hook this up to Zig directly as well. I haven't used it with that. I mean, I do use Zig, as you've probably seen if you saw what I did just a second ago. This is all Zig. But the engine is C++, and also the runtime that, you know, drives this thing, the thing that starts playing sounds here when I press play here. This thing is all C++. I mean, this application is C# actually, but the runtime here which plays this audio is C++. So I don't know. I don't know how well it works with Zig, but I would assume it probably works. So those would be my suggestions. Fmod, I think you could probably use from Zig as well, because I think there is a C API for it. Wise, I don't know. Maybe. It's so widely used that it probably works with C as well. But I can't say. on the main page of Mini Audio, it's written it's C and C++ lib. Yeah, like it's a C library, right? It's just like it's an audio playback library for C and C++. I don't think it's written in C++, to be honest. And you know, we can probably actually find the source files here, because I use it, so I must have it. Isn't that how it works? So we have Timbre here. Timbre again being my audio solution. The nice thing with So Loud is that you can just, well, okay, if you're using Zig, then it's a little trickier. You know, if your tech is just Zig, it's a bit trickier. But here I actually have miniaudio.h, and this is probably just the. Oh no. Okay, it really is in just like single header. Yeah. So it's a single header that is in this version. It's like 70,000 lines of code. It's like a SQLite or SQLite situation where they sort of deliver it in just like one huge file. And yeah, I need to have that somewhere. So I probably have it somewhere. Let's see, CPP. Oh, actually, all right. So Loud here is actually providing it for me. Make this a little larger here. So they do this mini audio implementation, and then they include it, and that's how you use mini audio. These are probably, so MA I assume stands for mini audio, and then you go like, I don't want any null backend, and I don't want any, you know, wave, FLAC, MP3. You wouldn't need any of those if you're using something like So Loud, because So Loud does read at least wave files and MP3s. I don't know if it does FLACs. But then it does all the mixing and the virtual voice management and everything, and it gives the result out as, I think, floating point data. And then it gives it to Mini Audio, and Mini Audio just takes it and plays it back. So yeah, that's how I use it. And if you use SIG, then you're gonna have to, you know, figure out what the best course of action would be. I happen to see here that there was something called CAPI, so this is probably what it is going to be. Extern C, right? This looks like a CAPI. I don't exactly know where the header for this is though. Oh, here it is. So SoLoud C.h if you want to use this instead of Mini Audio, which I kind of suggest you actually give a try. If you're completely new to audio, I would suggest you try to use SoLoud instead of Mini Audio directly, unless you know you want to use Mini Audio directly. So here's the C API for SoLoud, and then you need to build it somehow, and I think it was suggested here on the web page that actually you can use it as a DLL if you're on Windows. So whatever you need. There's even like an example here. So that would be that. Right. It's getting pretty late here in Finland, so I think I'm gonna probably end this stream reasonably soon. I don't wanna spend all night streaming because I need to do this again tomorrow to get the demo into shape. But this was good. Now we have the mission sort of fixed. Let's put some music back on. So it's not completely silent. And again, let me know if the volume is off. But yeah, this was good. Now I can handle both of these cases And yeah, I don't think we need to handle that one. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess technically it is possible, probably, to, you know, to get past this trigger if you know exactly where it is, and then you spawn. I guess you might be able to do it like accidentally, right? But you can spawn like a vehicle somewhere inside of this, you know, along this line. You can spawn a vehicle somehow. I don't know exactly how, but maybe you can. And then you can drive up with another vehicle to here. You can switch to that vehicle. And then you can exit that trigger. In that case, you might be able to actually drive past this without having activated it. I guess that is like possible in theory. I don't know exactly how you would spawn that one vehicle there without using the development tools. Yeah, so I don't think it's really an issue, because you kind of need the development tools to be able to like just click somewhere and spawn a vehicle there. So we need to sort of like nudge like a... Yeah, that might be possible actually. You might be able to nudge a scout into one of these areas without touching the area yourself. Then switch to it and then drive off. But still, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters at all. So, let's just end by playing a little bit. Seeing if we can break the game somehow. And I can add one more thing to the list to fix. So I think I'm gonna shut that down. Let's hope we don't need to actually open it up anymore today. Oh yeah, I promised to show you the intro. Usually have an intro now. I can just get rid of that stuff. Chili Vanilli said that the intro looks cool. There's like a whole previous part here. This is specifically the intro for the demo. It's probably not how the final game is going to start, like the campaign. I think this area is probably going to be somewhere roughly in the middle of the campaign. And that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. But we'll see, of course, it's still somewhat early days, so I don't know, the campaign might just be completely different. And of course there's like a whole audio side to this as well, but let's leave that for when you actually play the game. And there's some particle systems missing here from this vehicle. All kinds of things. So this kind of establishes a little bit, you know, these guys arriving into this valley here, where the demo then properly starts. And yeah, I need to think about this AI part a little bit more. And it's a very minor thing, which is probably not going to bother really anyone except me. But 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 still. Oh, Chili Vanilli seemed to like it. Well, that's nice. Yeah, I hope people like it. Indeed. And perhaps it bears mentioning one more time today that I will release a build of this game in about a week. On the 1st of February, there will be a very, very, very rough version of the demo. Well, it is basically what you see now, plus whatever I have time to do in a week. And, you know, there are some untextured buildings here, and you can, you know, rebindable keys or stuff like that. Like this whole monorail here, for example, is untextured still. And here's an untextured building. So we'll see. It's basically like whatever I have time to do in 1 week, and then I'll do a limited release in a week. To get your hands on that build, I ask you to join the Discord. The reason I ask you to join the Discord is that I don't want to really make any do like any advertisement for the game outside of Discord, and I'd like the feedback to arrive there as well, so that if there's any problems, I can be there to help and hopefully fix them pretty fast. So if you want to be among the very first to play this game, do join the Discord. If you get the build from there and you would like to share it with anyone, that is completely fine. You're free to do that. I will, however, not make like a huge amount of advertisement about it outside of the odd stream here and there, and then on the Discord itself. There will be a more polished build later in the spring. How did I come up with the brand name Madrigal Games? Seems Spanish influenced, is it? It is not Spanish influenced. Madrigal is a song by Rush, the band. And so that is basically where it comes from. It is also kind of a little bit inspired by a city from Bungie's Myth series, you know, the really old tactics games. They have a city in there called Madrigal. But like the thing that made me name the company Madrigal is that I listened to Rush, and there was a song called Madrigal, and I desperately needed to come up with a name, so I just named it Madrigal. And the Rush song reminded me that, oh yeah, that's a pretty cool name. Well, no, unfortunately, it has nothing to do with Spanish. Hello, am I going to release the engine publicly? Maybe in some reasonably limited sense. I don't think anyone would really want to use this engine for their own game, because it's completely undocumented, and I kind of know how it works, and I know how to deal with some of its issues, and I know what it's not good at, what I shouldn't even attempt to make with it. I have been toying around with the idea of actually releasing most, if not all, of the Zig code for this game. This game is still going to be a commercial game, but there's really nothing preventing me from releasing, for example, like the demo code, the code for the demo build, as open source. It would still require the engine, which is not going to be open source for just like a variety of reasons. It would still require the engine to build, so you can actually make like a playable game out of it. But I've been toying with the idea of maybe releasing the Zig code so that people can like mess around with it and make mods and try out things and stuff like that. And you can also, for example, you can make a full vehicle in this engine and in this tech just from data. You don't need to necessarily make any code. You can just take the components that are already there and then, you know, put them together into a completely new vehicle. That is also possible. Well, yeah, that is that. All right, let's see our new feature in action here. So switch to that. Try maybe a little forward. Let's bring that down. So I think basically if we lower this thing over the wall and into the base, we are going to immediately get that, oh nice, you're inside thing there, and the mission will sort of recognize that we are in the base, and that comes simply from the fact that this magnet which is holding this scout is entering, and that magnet is technically part of this vehicle which we are now, and the game kind of counts that as being inside of the base, right? But if we now drop it, just bloop, drop it, nothing happens. We're still outside of the base. But if we switch to driver, which allows us to switch vehicle, and we can switch vehicle through the wall there. I don't think I'm gonna actually fix there. Now we are properly inside the base, and now we can use the radio to tell the mother to, hey, reset your crane, and it does so nicely. Of course, that's the thing that we did in the last stream. And it works pretty well. Actually, maybe it was like 2 streams ago. I don't remember. In a recent stream, anyway. So cool, that works now. That's great, because that has been like a potential blocker bug for this whole mission to you know be completable. And here, if you guys haven't seen, is the third vehicle, which is still kind of rough around the edges. Probably needs a little bit of a redesign, if we're being completely honest. And it's kind of crappy to drive and all of that. It's kind of horrible, really. But it works. And this thing is a so-called gripper. So it has this big claw in the front, and it can be used to lift things. And so here we need to, first of all, let's order the scout to come here, because it takes a little while for it to arrive every time. So we can use this thing to like control the gripper arm. Open wide, forward, and then we can yoink this power cell out of the socket, yoink, and lift it away. Let's see, I have some questions. First of all, Matt says, oh wow, you're still going. I am still going. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the evening here, so I will probably end pretty soon, but I'm still going because I'm trying out these bug fixes that we made earlier. Okay, hey Scout, move out of the way, thank you. And Dimitar asks, are you considering a player sandbox / editor mode and the ability to create custom missions and levels or maps? Yes, I am. in a previous stream, I actually started working on a sort of a sandbox level. Now, of course, because I own the tools used to make this thing, including the level editor, there's nothing preventing me from releasing that. But I think it will probably come at a later date. Like I wanna make the game first and release it. But yes, I think it is definitely sort of part of the whole appeal of this game that it is reasonably simple to use it to or use these tools to build more stuff, and hopefully integrate it with, you know, Steamworks and all of that, and get like proper mod support going. But that work hasn't really started, but I'm hoping that it will be somewhat easy. Okay, so here's a power cell. These power cells actually get randomly placed every time you play. You need to find a few of these power cells to get the elevator working, and this thing is just absolutely horrible. It can't really transport anything. There are a few places, and of course I'm not gonna reveal all of those places to you. You're gonna have to play the game yourself. But what we can do in the meantime is just ask the mother vehicle to come up here, and it is now facing the wrong way, which may be a recipe for disaster, but let's see. So mother, move here. Let's see what it does. And Yasin says, the game feels physically accurate, which I imagine requires a lot of computations. My question is, was performance optimization a challenging task to accomplish? Performance is always something that you think about when you're making a game. It's not only a case with something where you try to be physically accurate. Look at that, it managed to make the turn. Yeah, so performance is always something that you're sort of considering. But in this case, I would say that rendering has definitely been the more performance intensive thing, and I think that is kind of what, you know, the norm for most games. Rendering is going to be the thing that takes a lot of work. And I have some pretty big refactorings and restructurings in the rendering planned for this game before it reaches full release, as the people in my Discord would know. There's quite a lot of work still that I plan to do there. So we'll see what happens. And Chili says, since he's using physics, I assume it is then about efficiency using that library. Probably things like deactivate non-rigid body from getting including in simulation runs. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, PhysX, which you're quite right. This is all powered by PhysX. And the reason I use PhysX specifically is that they have a pretty nice vehicle SDK. Okay, all right. Yeah, no power cells here, except an empty one. Yeah, they have a pretty nice vehicle SDK. I'm using the older one, by the way, even though I am these days I am upgraded to PhysX 5. I'm still using the old vehicle SDK. But PhysX handles a lot of the stuff for you. You need to be a little smart about it, of course. You can just create like a absolute mass of objects somewhere, then expect the performance to be good. I don't necessarily have just a ton of objects in the level that are dynamic yet. I actually plan to have a stream probably somewhat soon where I model a bunch of more dynamic objects. Like that is basically the theme for that stream, and then just place them in the level and like time box each and every one so that I don't spend that much on any of them. And hopefully with that we'll have more. But currently we just have like we have some of these guys here. And of course the vehicles themselves, they are kind of complex physically. So it is definitely not free to simulate these physics just being simulate these vehicles, you know, just driving around. That is something that takes a little bit of computational power. But so far that, like I said, that hasn't really been a huge issue. We'll see how well it holds up with a lot more dynamic objects. But like PhysX, the actual library is of course very well, sort of very battle tested and widely used. So I don't expect there to be like a huge number of issues. Oh, the monorail is already here. Yeah, I was waiting for it to arrive, but it had already arrived. Yeah, here you can see here's like an untextured vehicle now driving in an untextured monorail car on an untextured monorail track. And we'll be arriving at another untextured station very soon. So there's some things here still that are still not final, and some of I almost bet that some of this untextured stuff will still be in there in the first release. So it's a very, very rough release. Let's see. We had physics systems in games for decades now, since many people have forgotten just how much you can compute on the CPUs nowadays, and as most large games just don't do larger scale sims. Crysis was 07, Half-Life 2 was 04. People seem to be amazed when something goes for the level of physics those games had. Yeah. Yeah. Like, if we're being honest, I don't think Half-Life's physics weren't necessarily... I mean, they were technically impressive, yes. They used a fork of Havoc. I still do, as far as I know, even in Source 2. It's a fork of Havoc, if I've understood it correctly. You know, I think the thing that made Half-Life's physics really, really good, and actually still make them really, really good, is just that they were very cleverly used in gameplay, right? No one had seen anything like that up to that point. You know, the fact that you had like puzzles where you needed to use like the buoyancy of some objects to like lift things up and have them sort of lift up a bridge that you could then run over, or you had the seesaw puzzle where you would balance it out with like bricks so that you could stand on the other side of the... It's not like you know, you put like 2 or 3 bricks there and then it was puzzle solved basically. So I mean, I have already more objects than that. It's just that they were like designed very smartly. I think it was just like, as much as it was like a technical thing, it was also a game design thing. Crysis then, on the other hand, that was like more impressive. I still think that Crysis's the tree destruction is still something that I haven't really seen like in any other game, right? I can't think of a single game, not even Crysis 2 did it that well, right? Oh, yeah, teardown. Teardown is super impressive. Still like blows my mind a little bit to this day. Especially since it was mostly made by one person. Like the core tech stuff was made by one person. Crysis trees were great. Yes, they were. It was mostly about that one first map though. After that, like, people got kind of they had sort of seen it all, I think. The first map in Crysis was great. Let's see, can I put it in here like this? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. Yeah, the gripping of these objects, you can technically like grip really anything, but mostly you're gripping power cells because they're like the correct size. I think you might be able to grip one of those large boxes as well there, and pallets or whatever, roof panels, whatever those are. But the power cells are sort of the correct size to be gripped. Hey, look, cactus. Oh yeah, it's a little wonky gripping these things with this. It works reasonably well, but it can be a little wonky. For sure. All right, the last power cell is in place. And we can enter the elevator. All right, mother, come on, come. Oh, I don't think I can get over there. Okay, can you move here then? Yes, you can. Okay, good. Yeah, sometimes the pathfinding can be a little picky. Because like, no, I can't fit there. Alrighty then, folks. That's one way to play through the demo. Let's see if it actually finishes properly. Yay! It worked. And didn't even crash. Yeah. There is the map sandbox here. I'm not sure this might crash the game now. Let's see. No, it actually doesn't. Okay, so here here is a level which is probably going to break everyone's computer. Matt might maybe remember this one. I think you were around when we made this. This was made during a stream, and it sort of illustrates what you can do with the engine and the tech without coding anything, just from data. So the idea, of course, is that you should bring these power cells here and put them into these places. And I think I'm just gonna spawn these power cells here like this. And you can see it just starts spawning things, and they fall into those trucks there. And if we keep going, this, like, it literally, it never stops. So if we keep going, eventually I think the game will crash. But before that, the performance will just be very, very bad. Also, this thing is networked, so we can probably see the network stats. You can see, like, they're just going up. All right, yeah, most of the stuff has actually fallen asleep now, but if we start messing with this, then we can probably see it going up. Oh, not that much, actually. It's sort of solidified. But yeah, the idea here is that everything is dynamic. So if you're you know, driving around with a vehicle like this and it has physical objects in the back, then they are just, you know, flying around. And sometimes it is tricky to keep them inside your vehicle. I'm managing pretty well right now. But yeah, that's the idea. So I think they should make for a pretty interesting sandbox mode. And of course you can make like triggers and things like that as well. So okay, now we can see, like, things are starting to, like, jerk a little bit. I think this is something to do with the network layer being sort of like not quite handling. I think probably none of those objects there can really fall asleep. We can actually have a look here. Yeah, none of those have fallen asleep, so they're all getting synchronized over the network, and they're just, like, jerking. Jerking and being crazy about it. But basically, if we open the level here, it is in the map sandbox. Right, so we have, like, receptacles here. You can script them, and we are sending them to the sphere spawners, which is here. The script, and then you have, like, an array. You can make this a little larger. An array of object types. You can put anything here. Like, we could spawn, you know, vehicles, for example. You know, they would explode all over the place probably. Right, but if we just for funsies, just make, like, scout, copy the full name there, just put it there instead. Boom, and then we play the mission. I don't want to save. We can just put a power cell, and power cell, and oh. Transforms. What? What's going on? Clearly I don't understand this script of mine. Object types. Length -1. Oh, that's probably like, huh? Do I need to make, like, because, like, the angel script, or maybe actually my get random is, like, not inclusive. I think that's probably what's going on here. So I need to have more than one, essentially. Oh no, not a scout, sorry. And I should mention that the game will actually probably spawn like maybe a 30 of those, and then it will assert fail. Because there's like a... yeah, whatever. Whatever. Okay, well... Yeah, you get the point. It's not really... It's not really meant for that. What? Did I save that? I don't think I did. No. Yeah, that's just 3 things here, but then that's the 5 transfer. I don't remember. Anyway, you can do silly things. Power cell. Empty power cell. I'm pretty sure this should work. And then maybe debug box. Let's see if that works. Sorry if I missed that. Indeed, in a YouTube video, have you got a Uni CS background perhaps? No. No. I never went to university. I have a bachelor's degree. Okay, well, if that counts. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. Yeah. I don't think that counts as university, right? Like different countries use different terminology for this. Yeah. Okay, you can't really spawn the vehicles, right? Like that. I don't know exactly what's going on there. You should be able to do that because you can spawn them just, you know, vehicle, but they don't want to spawn like that for some reason. But yeah, we can make power cells. We can drive away with them. So heavy. So heavy. Yay. University is degree level and beyond. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm familiar with the concept. My wife has not one but 2 university degrees, and I don't have a single one. And now the thing is just launching those things into the air. Fun. Ooh. Oh, you mean BSc? That would be Bachelor of Science. Huh. So that would mean that I have a university degree then. Well, anyway, in Finland we typically sort of think about when someone talks about being at the university, like the University of Helsinki, for example, they mean like they're there to get like a master's degree or higher. And then what I went to is what we call ammattikorkeakoulu, which is like slightly lower level. You get a bachelor's degree, and it is sort of targeted at, you know, hey, do you want to actually have like how should I explain it? Do you want to like work with this, or do you want like the academic degree? And what I did was more like the sort of profession oriented thing. So it's not typically counted. It doesn't typically like when people talk about university degrees, they usually mean like masters or higher, which I don't have. But yes, I'm quite happy with my bachelor's. I'm not really the university kind kind of person. But for those who are, then by all means. That's awesome. Anyway, folks, I think I'm gonna end here tonight. Thanks for hanging out. At the risk of repeating myself, if you want to play a very rough, and I mean very rough, version of this game, then do check out the Discord and keep an eye on the 1st of February, which at the time of recording, if you're watching this later, will be 1 week from now. If you'd like to play a slightly more polished version of the game, then feel free to still join the Discord and YouTube and all of that. But maybe hold off on the version. But it's up to you. And like I said, if you're super excited about it and you feel like it's fun and you want to share it with the world, you're free to do that. I'm not necessarily going to do that outside of the odd stream and the Discord itself for now. But I hope people play it and enjoy it and give me feedback, and we can fix the issues and make a really awesome demo, which I will then shout about from the rooftops. I saved the time from university to work on this amazing engine and game. Yeah, well, this particular game I haven't worked on for more than, what is it now, like a year and a half or something? Lovely stream as always. Thank you. You plan on having a coffee page, perhaps? See, Finnish law is super tricky when it comes to receiving donations. It's not really legal here. That is the problem. Any sort of donation thing, or like even running a Kickstarter is just basically impossible in Finland. That's why you don't see typically people do that, or if they do, they run it through some like company in the States or something. So I am not planning on doing that, but we'll try to figure it out. Yeah, it's a little sad. I wouldn't mind like maybe making a few extra bucks by doing something if people are interested in this stuff, but you can't just call it income. I'm not an expert in this, and I've spoken to many people in the industry. Like I do work in the games industry. Let's be clear about that. If that wasn't obvious, I do work at a large-ish studio as a programmer. So I do have I do know quite a few people in the business, and I know a lot of people who have done like the indie thing before me. And it seems like it's really tricky to actually like, tax that properly, because you're sort of like you're getting money for nothing as far as the government sees it, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the details. But no, it's not income. That is the thing. It's not income because you're not, delivering something. It's sort of like you get money and then you might kind of promise to maybe perhaps do something for it or something. I don't know, from Finland's perspective. So it's tricky. It's tricky. But we'll see. In the meantime, if you want to support me, then by all means, just like let folks who you think would like this stuff, just let them know about the channel and the game and everything. I think that is the best way you could support me right now. Because, visibility is tricky and all of that. And in the meantime, I'll try to build a cool game and stay afloat financially. at least for a little while longer. I mean, this thing is gonna have to start making me some money soon. I'm gonna be out on the street. But that's for another time. Thank you, lovely folks, for hanging out. Have a great evening or morning or day or night or whatever it is you're having. And see you later.